Hey everyone, welcome to the Weeaboos, the monthly podcast where we get drunk and talk about anime. I'm Kyle.
I'm Justin.
I'm Kevin.
And we're all definitely prepared. So, there is no Hunter this week. He's off in the promised land of Japan visiting his fiancée. But who needs international escapades when you have alcohol? So,
Yeah, we don't need a real life waifu in Japan. Like, why do we need that?
We're here talking about anime instead.
Yeah, while he's over there experiencing the anime.
And true
I
love.
love my life. Thank you, Kyle.
All right. For all you new listeners out there, here's a quick rundown of the show. Each episode, each of us simply shares one thing that we love about anime. It could be as all-encompassing as an entire series or as specific as the way a character's eyes are drawn. As long as it makes us happy, anything goes. Afterwards, we answer a listener question, followed by our opinions on what we're currently watching. Kevin, before we start, do you want to let everyone know what we're drinking?
It's Vanilla Porter, and this is from Breckenridge Brewery.
There you go. And I brought us some Mardi Gras Bock from Abita Brewery. I think by this point, the speaking order has been established, unless anyone is against me going first. So, I guess I should start by asking if any of you have seen Kyokai no Kanata, also known as Beyond the Boundary. It's by Kyoto Animation, has the girl with the red glasses, the sword made of blood. Does that ring any bells?
Can't say I've seen it.
Wait, at some point does he get there's a boy in there that gets tackled by his best friend?
That does happen in that series.
Yes, I have seen some parts of it.
You've seen the gif of where the boy gets tackled by his friend.
I know that's the only thing that I like about it. And it looks like it has some romance in it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, allow me to inform you of the most spectacular scene from what is possibly the best filler episode of any anime.
Oh, a filler.
To describe the series in a purely superficial manner, Kyokai no Kanata is about a group of kids who hunt supernatural creatures. These creatures, called Yomu, are essentially physical manifestations of humanity's corruption, materializations of jealousy, hatred, lust, etc. To those of you who haven't seen the anime, that's all the context you should need. Just understand that the show is as much about demon hunting as Cowboy Bebop is about bounty hunting. It's less about what the characters do and more about who they are. Characterization over concept. With that in mind, episode 6 of Kyokai no Kanata revolves around our pink-haired protagonist Mirai and her 4 friends attempting to destroy a certain highly valued spirit. Being a spirit world warrior is comparable to having a freelance job. The more difficult the task, the higher the reward. And Mirai, struggling to pay her rent, desperately needs the money. However, the 5 of them quickly discover that the reason this profitable Yomu is not being sought after is due to the fact that it erupts with this putrid yellow liquid when anyone approaches it. So, after countless poorly conceived plans, hilariously ending in being washed away by some rancid tidal wave, these kids are fed up. They're exhausted, pissed off, and the horrible smell, like a curse, won't dissipate until they kill this thing. Desperate for retribution, they take everything they've learned from their failed attempts to devise just the absolute best plan. They know they have to distract the Yomu. They know it has a strange attraction to cute girls, and they know it's unusually enticed by song and dance. So, a week passes, and the gang has apparently gone through rigorous training as we see them decked out in idol outfits. Their solution to fight this monster was to put together an idol group and perform an original song with full choreography. And oh my gosh, does it kick so much ass. It is just the best thing ever. We're pretty much given a full-on music video. The song is needlessly catchy, the dancing animation is unbelievably fluid. There's a training montage that includes images of the kids arguing with each other and crying dramatically in the rain. Like, unexpectedly, a side character who doesn't usually fight Yomu, and who we just saw off-screen wearing a normal school uniform, joins their dance mid-routine in full idol costume, stealing the show with her adorable moe charm. Meanwhile, the Yomu is losing his mind. He's loving this. Like, even the 2 male characters are dancing in the background, like passionately flipping their hair around. But as the song ends, and everyone is covered in sweat, like breathing heavily after a successful performance, they look around in shock and dread as they realize they forgot to assign anyone the job of actually killing the Yomu as it was distracted. Kyoto Animation dedicated an excessive amount of effort to convey what is essentially nothing more than a joke. This scene was already funny on a conceptual level, yet KyoAni decided to heighten the production value to an unjustifiable extent. They applied the same mentality to the infamous God Knows performance in Haruhi Suzumiya, a scene that elicited the same level of pure joy when I watched it for the first time, which made me think, why do I adore these moments? What is it about spontaneous musical performances that I find so appealing? I think it's that I like the idea of music, not swords or magic, as a solution to a conflict. Sometimes it's a physical solution. Macross, for example, is a franchise centered around weaponized pop idols. Dance Like You Wanna Win is an Evangelion episode where Shinji and Asuka have to learn how to dance in order to kill an angel. More often, we see musical moments utilized as a form of emotional resolution, such as the phenomenal improvised performance in Kids on the Slope being used to unify oppositional characters, or how the lyrics in the final scene of Anthem of the Heart reveal deeply sorrowful truths that could only be conveyed through song. Anime is a medium where the large majority of series heavily rely on overcoming obstacles by hitting them very hard, which is understandable. The visceral gratification of watching someone get punched so intensely that color gets knocked out of them makes me sweat, but there's something uniquely sensational about the unconventional and sometimes literal use of music as a means to prevail. The act of pouring your soul into something in an effort to achieve some sort of victory is no different for a hero than it is a performer. So that's why I like the funny dance scene in Kyokai no Kanata.
So you like music as an answer to conflict?
Yeah, like
everything.
As a form of combat almost. Like just, it's so ridiculous. It's stupid. It's so dumb, and I love it. And it came out of nowhere. Like, Kyokai no Kanata, it has pretty funny moments throughout, but I wouldn't define it as a comedy, so this came out of nowhere. And while I called it a filler episode, it's not technically a filler as far as I'm aware.
So
like, that sounds like the best filler episode I've ever seen. Like, filler, terrible, but like, idol, dancing,
it's amazing.
It's the best.
Sounds surprising. Like, I'll have to check it out because
I can show you guys the scene after the podcast.
So. No, I'm down to watch it, but so is this just coming from that you like music in general, like in music?
No,
anime?
No,
like
not
dancing?
really.
No?
In fact, I like these moments more so when it's not a musical anime, when it came out of nowhere. The unexpectedness of it is what makes it so hilarious. In fact, I would say I like musical moments in non-musical anime more so than musical anime due to that surprise, that shock.
Well, I feel like as humans, you know, when we want diversity, and so is it maybe just the fact that, like, you know, you get a complete surprise, you're not expecting it at all, comes out, and that's why you enjoy it, not necessarily the actual music aspect itself.
I don't know.
I mean, how much do you like Idol? That's what we're talking about. How much J-pop do you actually listen to?
Guilty pleasure is J-pop.
I don't love idol anime, but like I mentioned the Haruhi guitar solo, that performance. Haruhi is not a musical anime, and I love that scene equally as much as the Kyokai no Kanata scene. It might be like that little kid in me who loves the final scene in Goofy Movie where they just sing Powerline, you know, at the end. Like it's that moment. It's that, like, you're at the end of your ropes. You have nothing left to do. Like, just gotta sing. That's all I can do. It's the final solution.
And is it very specific animes? Because, like, if Berserk did that, like, just out of nowhere, would you be like, what the fuck?
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't just go to senseless violence.
I know they could do it, though.
No.
They could definitely do it with some monsters, all right? I'm just saying, does it have to be very specific genres or how intense an anime is? Or just like...
I kind of get where Kyle is coming from, because I was thinking about this yesterday. You know, I was working on a track with my friend, you know, in the studio, and I was thinking about how powerful a medium music is, but it only becomes really impactful with the visual aspect.
Definitely.
So when you have, you know, that montage, right? They're training and like the dancing and the cute, because like there's something about that. Like, it's very appealing you know,
Yeah.
like in Kakegurui, what the idol is so awesome. The idol episode, because they're so cute.
Definitely.
So and then you put like this really catchy song in there, and it's just like, it just clicks on multiple levels on something that you are not expecting, and that's why you derive so much pleasure from it.
Yeah, like I said, Kyoto Animation didn't have to make that song or dance as good as they did, but they went all out, and it's the fact that it's done so well. Not like any other anime could have done that as like a throwaway thing where the song lasted like 30 minutes, and as they were dancing, the camera pulled away to like shots of the school as you heard the song in the background. But they actually showed the full, like almost the full dance. I mean, there were the montage shots, but that added to the comedy of the scene. So
It was like it takes so much passion to like, create music, and especially, in the dancing and all that. Like there's a ton of passion that goes into that. And anime takes a ton of passion, of course, because it's an art form, it's a storytelling medium. But then they really, sounds like they took the extra step to put that passion into the music and the song, told the story within a story almost.
right.
Which sounds pretty dope. Like, I'm not going to lie.
And,
like,
and the song itself, like the lyrics are
titillating.
so cheesy, but they're intentionally cheesy. It's like power of friendship. Let's, that kind of
My
thing.
friends.
well, they're fighting a monster.
Yeah.
So
it's an original song. It's
Yeah.
not like based on a song. Okay.
I think it's funny that of all the hundreds of things I could choose from to talk about, I picked up that random scene that I found funny, but it just felt right to talk about. And you guys often talk about, or you and Hunter, Justin and Hunter specifically, talk a lot about music, and I never really take that approach. So I felt like, what, why not? I'll go there. So
Yes. Me and Hunter love music, and that kind of segues really nicely into my topic, because I'm so passionate about music, as a performer and a creator. So much of my energy, and passion goes into music, and it's how I express myself. It's the most powerful emotions that I can feel. So, in regards to anime, I'm a very big fan of music anime, of course.
right.
So like Angel Beats, because Sam loves Angel Beats.
That's not really a music anime.
What?
Though.
They did
Like
it
it's got
before?
and it was cool. Like I enjoyed it.
yeah. So like K-On?
I haven't watched that yet, but I am interested. But I hear it's
I
not
have-
about the music. But anyways, Kevin, I'm trying to do my topic.
Don't interrupt, Kevin.
I'm sorry, man. I just gotta give a shout out.
Sam, I think Sam is in the chat. Is that who said that?
Yeah, and Bobby.
Oh, what's up, Bobby?
Yeah, he said.
Hi, Bobby.
hello.
Hi, Sam. Okay, so my topic is anime's ability to capture human emotion. It's amazing how genuine this emotion is. Specifically talking about Your Lie in April. Like, there's something about that show that just touched me on like so many levels, because you have this contrasting, like ridiculous, like Kaori gets like crazy and she's all mad at what's his name, Kosei.
Kosei.
So Kaori's like screaming at Kosei and like you have to do this and all this, and then all of a sudden like he's dealing with his problems through performance, and I just that strikes such a note with me, because anything I've ever had to deal with in life I can express through music and performing, and I just pour my entire soul into a song, and that's exactly what he's doing in his performance. In that last concert piece, he is dealing with the resolution, the death of his mother, and the fact that he loves this girl who he can't love. He can't be with her because he loves her best. He thinks that she likes his best friend. And then I see that in Kids on a Slope as well. Sentaro. So Sentaro, he was completely outcasted from society, and like because his dad was a soldier, a U.S. soldier. So he has so much aggression and pent up feelings that he expresses through violence. But when he's playing drums, he's able to express all that in a positive way. And that's, I understand, because like I played hardcore music, and I'd go to hardcore shows and like mosh and like, get into fights basically. And it would always be a positive experience though for me.
But fighting.
Not fighting necessarily, but just expressing those like really negative emotions. And to see that on the anime, there's just something that just is that strikes me so deeply. Like at the end of Your Lie in April, like I was crying, like I never cry, and I was bawling. Like after watching that anime, I played like Call of Duty World War II, and like I was getting emotional during like the D-Day thing because I was just like talking to my dad, and I'm just like, yeah, this is great.
Guys, bomb site B.
I guess I kind of got a little off point, but it's just so refreshing to me. I watch anime that's so fantastical, whimsical, out of the realm of reality, and that's fantastic. I love being transported there. But it's so interesting to have something that just strikes so deeply and is so real in an animated form.
Right.
It's not real, but real emotion.
Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, it's such a funny statement to me that anime is not real, because yes, it's fictional, and yes, the characters are not real, like literally in any way, but anime as a medium exists, and mediums have the ability to impact us so heavily that it's almost weird to say that they don't exist or it's not real, because the human emotion that they capture is like, you can't walk around a convention without saying, like, just look at it. We are all gathered here in this place due to like how these cartoons have made us feel. Absolutely. And as you said, the ability to capture human emotion is just extremely powerful. Like, you watch these characters, you watch the two main characters from Kids on the Slope playing that improvised performance, and you watch them breathe and move and laugh, and you can just see, like, how is that not alive? Like, these characters are so representative of ourselves and how we feel, and it is incredibly moving.
No, animes, like, I definitely believe they touch on real emotions. Like, the gambling one. That's probably how people that have a gambling addiction see that lust. Like, that drive. You know what I'm talking about? Like how they depict that drive. I believe that. Like, that's probably what they actually feel. And I'm like, I love that anime can depict these feelings for me. Like, I never thought that I would love to see someone gamble in an anime, and they showed it in a way I'm like, that's kind of how I feel. Like, that's when I play poker, I'm like, that's the feeling I do get. The feeling of I'm risking everything, and I'm like, and they can depict it in animation for me. I'm like, that's how I feel. Like, and if I had to show someone like the definition of like what I'm feeling at this moment, I'll show them the anime.
I guess at what point does it become real? Does an anime only become real when deep emotion that is, seated in reality? Is that what makes it real, or is it the fact that people are putting so much passion into it? Like, what's the line on what's like quality or just kind of garbage?
I mean,
weeaboo garbage.
It's not weeaboo garbage, right?
I think all anime, all stories have the intent to evoke emotion in the viewer. And regardless of the content, if it succeeds, whether it be making us cry or getting us turned on, it achieved. It set out what it wanted to do.
So essentially, when the viewer feels any kind of emotion from it, it's become real, and that it's like stirred something in us.
I would say so. I think that's a really good defining line of it. So,
all right, so on to Kevin. So my topic of the night is how my guilty pleasure is chibis. Like, they're fucking goddamn adorable. They literally change my mood on the fly. So, for example, I was watching Berserk, and Berserk has a very messed up story. Like, there's a lot of fucked up shit happening. People are getting raped, gore, explicit gore, and then out of nowhere,
demonic possession.
Dude, it's the most messed up thing. And then they have this character named Puck who like turns into a chibi every now and then.
Oh, he does.
He does, and it changes the mood for me. Like, Guts could be chopping some dude up, and I'm like, oh man, this is a very intense moment. And then all of a sudden, Puck comes in his chibi form, just dicking around, and I'm like, I feel happy right now. Like,
I forgot about that. I was like,
do you know what I mean?
What the fuck is Kevin talking about? Chibis and Berserk?
Yeah,
but you're right.
It does. It changes the mood, and
does.
I can agree that it. And for me, like, that could be a bad thing and a good thing. But for me, like, it takes my attention away. Like, it literally took all my attention from the sadness and like the gore and just turned it happy because of Puck. turning to a chibi. And some people on like some people like when they're having a bad day, they like look up like puppies and kitties. I look up chibis. They make me happy. My cat in Monster Hunter World looks fucking adorable. And every time I'm fucking shit up, I'm like, my cat looks so pretty. Like it warms my heart. Like it warms my fucking heart that even though there's this big ass monster about to fuck me up, my cat's there looking adorable. And I think that chibis literally are like, they're like my stress reliever. Like I literally look at chibis as my stress reliever. Like when I'm having a bad day or a bad mood, I look up like videos like Umaru-chan or fucking there's this new anime like How to Take Care of a Mummy or something.
Yes.
That changes my day. Like it changes my mood. It is my stress reliever, and I believe people should start watching more chibis. Like
I disagree.
Well,
what?
People should not. Okay.
No, hold on. We are not here to
No,
hate. We are not here to hate.
No, let's hear your story.
I just don't think that you should just watch chibis by themselves. I think
Oh
they're
no,
great
not
in
definitely
that
by
sense.
myself. Like for me, it's my guilty pleasure. Like
Okay.
it is my guilty pleasure to watch chibis. Like that thing that's fucking adorable. Like
Fair
it
enough.
warms my goddamn heart. Like don't get me wrong, like chibis do take away from the anime. Like Berserk, for example, like it ruined the movie for me. Like it was a very intense moment, but then a chibi happened. I'm like, all right, everything. Like I don't even care about what just happened. Like someone just got raped and killed. Doesn't even matter anymore. Chibi just happened.
I mean, this is coming from the guy who just made a speech about how much I like to watch anime girls dance, so take this with a grain of salt, but personally speaking, I've always felt that, in most cases, chibi appeals to the lowest common denominator. Like, it's so blatantly inoffensive that people can't help but like it, which is why I don't find it incredibly appealing. I don't mean for that to make me sound like a dick, I just said I don't want to hate on anything that you find appealing or anyone finds appealing. I'm just trying to facilitate conversation. So in the realm of cute things, chibi seems like the easiest way to elicit the desired emotional response from the audience, kind of like what we talked about earlier. Gakko and Babysitters is mindlessly cute, whereas something like Takagi-san, for example, a show that's currently airing, is arguably devoid of chibi, yet emanates adorableness. Takagi will simply tilt her head a certain way or give a smug smile, and I can't help but just grab my chest, which makes me believe that I prefer a more calculated form of cute. Cute that required someone to search their soul in order to discover the reason that thing, whatever it is, pulls at their heartstrings. Chibi is too straightforward for my taste, but I can understand why anyone would like it. You like chibi the way I like fan service. I prefer nudity to be purposeful, but I definitely won't complain if it's not. So I totally understand it being a guilty pleasure and a stress reliever especially. I think that was a really good point.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you. Like if they just throw it out of nowhere, like it definitely just ruins it for me. Like, and this is just like my intense passion for like chibis. Like they literally just take my attention away from the anime. Like you throw it in there, I don't even care what the fuck's going on. Like that.
I mean, I almost that point in it in of and of itself is a negative in my opinion.
But
You just said they take away from.
No,
the
it
anime.
does because like silent voice, Maria. Oh my god, she made it for me. I was like, oh man, I want to see more scenes of Maria. She is so cute, the little girl. Like it was a very sad anime, but
See, I wouldn't call Maria chibi. She's a little girl.
Yeah.
But I think that's just moe. I think that's always, that's just how she looks.
I would say that my favorite chibi moment that actually adds to the anime a lot is in Kill la Kill when Mako is like when she goes on her little rants and she's just like, do this, da, 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 and she like gets all chibi. Like that's really great because it is, the animators are like, hey, we're getting really off topic with what she's saying. Look at her animation, like it goes with this.
Right. I would say
rant.
maybe the most positive thing about chibi is the ability to diffuse, very traumatic moments, or for the sake of a joke. I think Full Metal Alchemist does it a lot, Brotherhood, where like they'll be in a very serious moment and Ed will all of a sudden just be drawn as like a circle with triangular eyes and his little hair curl and say something stupid. And sometimes it makes for a good joke. Now I'm realizing it doesn't always. So, but
hey man, it cuts into the budget, right? They don't have to draw them as good.
sure.
Yep.
But when Ed gets like, always gets like chibi whenever he's like, whenever someone says that he's like short or whatever, right?
He goes on a rant. Just
Yeah, he
like,
goes on a
I'm
rant.
not short.
I recently watched One Punch Man again, and I almost talked about how the animators did such a great job of distinguishing like Saitama when he was serious and when he's just like the doofus guy.
Right.
Is that chibi considered? Because like there's a difference. Like when he's about to kill a guy,
No.
he gets like his line.
Yeah, he gets more defined. Yeah, he gets
and
more
there's
defined.
shading and stuff. It's intense.
No, I wouldn't call that chibi. I mean, this goes into like how do you define chibi? I think it's like what chibi is basically a oversimplified version or like a condensed version almost of that character and their traits. Like Nendoroids, they are chibi versions of their character. They are what are they called? Caricatures.
Speaking of One Punch Man, I didn't notice that he had an Opie jacket. I thought that was hilarious because I never noticed that. And then Kevin has an Opie hat. That's the only reason I know that Opie means boobs.
Right.
So that was a great moment.
That was a huge
I'll buy you that.
a
For
reveal to you, a revelation.
It was a huge reveal. It was crazy.
Do you want that for your birthday?
Yeah.
All right, I'll get you one. Like,
Thanks, Kevin.
All right.
I'm joining the hentai club.
yeah, there you go. Thank you. As the Opie King. I am the Opie King.
What did I call you? The minister of hentai or something like that?
You could. No. Hunter is doing me a solid right now in Japan for what he's getting from me.
Is he buying you porn?
Yes, it is definitely a nut. So he didn't get the one that I wanted.
Oh.
I'm not sure you told you that, but I'll
No.
tell you that. I have like a favorite doujin.
Sure.
And they didn't
As
have
we all
it.
do.
What's a dojin for us?
Sexy comic.
Sick. Is it like nudity or like is
Yeah.
it kind of like it's nudity? Okay.
Yeah.
And for
Doujin.
some fucking reason, they did not have it. So I'm like, are you serious? This is the most popular fucking shit
I was
in
gonna
the
say maybe
world.
you have bad taste.
Nah, dude, nah.
Sorry, Kevin. They
The
don't-
drawing's clean. The story's there. It's all there. I'm all about the story.
Shut up,
He
dude.
likes it for story. That's
It
right.
is. No, like, there's story into it. Like, porn is just porn. Like, oh, that fucking bald dude pretending to be a doctor or a firefighter. Like, that's shit. There's actually story in, like, dojins, and I'm like, I can rock with this. It's just something different. Like,
Right.
it's not for everyone, but watch some hentai.
Okay. Now let's move on. Before we answer tonight's listener question, I would like to thank our newest patron,
Oh, you got a new one?
Joseph. So thank you so much for your donation as well as your support. We genuinely appreciate it. Patrons don't come by too often, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Big J.
Someday the beer will be free.
Someday. Now, our question for this episode comes from Day. I think that's how you pronounce it. They ask, "Hi, I've been listening to the podcast for almost a month, and I just quickly wanted to send you all some questions to discuss on the podcast." Now, you sent us a ton of questions, so we'll just be answering some for now and saving others for future episodes. So first, if a studio contacted you about the production of an anime based on your life, which story arcs or important parts should they include to really capture you as a character? Your outlook on things, a gift you received and still treasure today, or a hobby that isn't well known to many people but adds to your character. Side question, which art style and music would you like the anime to have?
Wow. This is awesome.
Yo, that is a
Day,
loaded-ass question.
Way to go.
I'll let you think about it and I'll say my response. So I hate sounding so one-dimensional, but there's honestly no better story arc than the dichotomy between my public persona and my fanaticism with anime. So much of who I am is a result of my interaction with anime. According to my anime list, I've watched over 250 days worth of anime. That doesn't include time spent at conventions, driving to see anime movies in theaters, shopping for merchandise, listening to soundtracks, making GIFs, just daydreaming about anime. Over a year ago, I made this small anime podcast, and now I try to make anime analysis videos. Yet, for as self-defining as this hobby is, it's a part of myself that I typically keep hidden. Not due to shame or embarrassment, but irrelevancy. Without context, talking about anime to non-anime fans is like trying to describe a dream. Both parties immediately realize what you're saying is uninteresting and nonsensical. I've said it before, anime is like porn. Even though a huge number of people watch it, there's an unspoken rule about never mentioning it in public. Whether I like it or not, this mentality has shaped my personality. My likes and dislikes, my quiet nature, my passion, my inability to get a girlfriend. Hopefully it's not the fact that I'm just super ugly. So,
No, Kyle, you're a very good-looking dude.
Thank you,
No
Kevin.
homo.
Thank
well,
you.
actually, all the homo.
Thank you, even more.
You're a good-looking dude. Just
Appreciate it.
you just don't. The place you're at right now, like it doesn't get you a lot.
You guys should have seen him back in high school. He was so freaking jacked.
I was back in the day.
He was ripped.
Yo, when you guys
Still there.
Yeah, he's
Still
still
there.
there.
Soon.
Soon. You got
Well,
motivation?
Nope. Studio. The studio would be Kyoto Animation, so I could be Moe, and soundtrack would be By the Pillows or something because they're dope. You guys,
It has to be a moment or.
no, or a thing.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So for me, it's a competitive drive. I want them to know that I used to play Counter Strike Source competitively.
there you go.
Like I had no friends growing up because like during elementary, all my teeth rotted because I ate so much freaking candy as a kid.
Gross.
Yeah, so I had silver caps as my growing up. My parents were afraid of me going out because there was a lot of kidnapping happening back in the day. So I didn't get to go to anyone's like parties or sleepovers. So I was just home by myself with a computer and my video games and Super Nintendo. That's all I had to keep me like, sane. And what drove me was like I met people online and they told me like, hey, why don't you join a clan? Like I was like, the clan? Sure, why not? And then they brought me into the competitive scene. And it drove me to get better at the game, at my craft, at anything. And like it's shown to other things. Like I always want to be the guy that's really good at coding or the guy that's really good at playing this certain thing. Like that's what I want them to take away is that I've driven myself. Like I'm a very competitive person.
Got it. That's cool.
And
Sick.
it does get in the way of things. Like it turns things that are like a very casual thing into like I bet I can do that better than you. Like I provoke my opponent to doing something that wasn't meant to be competitive to a very competitive thing. And I think that's an aspect that they should take out of like
Sure.
knowing about me as Kevin.
What about
I'd watch
studio?
that anime. Sorry, I'm just saying like an esports anime would actually be really cool. I think that'd be like pretty
There
interesting.
is one, but it's made by China, so it's not like
Yeah.
super anime. What about the studio? Like what style and what music would be?
Ooh, the style. Well, the music would be intense.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be like Bleach #1.
Got
Like
it.
I would have my moment where I'm like, Bunkai. Like I'll know and make this the greatest play of all time. The drawing style, that is very tough because like most of my animes I watch are very like sharp. The Breaker is it's not really an anime yet. It's still a manga, but
Yeah.
that drawing style is what I would want
Cool.
for me.
That's cool. I get that. Justin.
So this is a really cool question because we all watch anime and it's kind of fun to take anime, something that we like, and apply it to your own life. It's interesting. I would definitely say that mine would be like a music anime, obviously, but I wouldn't be the main character. Like interestingly enough, I'd be like the side character, like the hype man. Like I'd be like the guy who's like super crazy. Like there's like the grounded main character who's like my friend Luke, right?
Yeah.
And he's the main protagonist. And I'm the guy who's like, oh my gosh. Like he's always getting like a crazy head and stuff and like really extreme and yelling and stuff. That would be me. And it would, the moments that would be in the anime would definitely be like, there was this, when me and my friend Luke, who we do music now, he's a singer and I'm a producer and his manager, photographer, all the whatever I need to do basically. When we were in high school, actually right after high school, I remember we went on a walk. We had just made a video for college and we were just really inspired by creating. We were walking and we're talking about, man, life is all about balance and you have to like, better yourself and, and just find a way to be better. And it was this amazing moment where we were on the same wavelength. We were connected to a higher power and we're like, bro, let's make a company called Balance. And that idea has like been our kind of motto, more or less, defining governing trait for the last like 5 years that we've been like pursuing music and doing music. So that would definitely be in it.
That's so anime.
So anime. Yeah. And like for the music, I definitely, for like a Japanese anime, totally like Samurai Champloo kind of sound. Like it would be like lo-fi,
Ninja
like
Bass.
hip hop, like Japanese hip hop. Like that would be super sick. And then like animation style, at first I was thinking like realistic, but then I was like, no, I feel like I really like Angel Beats, the way that animation
Sure.
style, that really clean,
Shiny and
like,
pretty.
Yeah, maybe like that mixed with like a little bit more, but just really exaggerated type of stuff.
Sure.
So that
Wait, why would you pick yourself as a supporting character? That interests me. Like, most people want to be like a main character in their thing. Like, I definitely want to be a main character in mine. Is it because the role that you play in IRL affecting this decision of you being a supporting character? Because you kind of are a supporting person. Like, no, like Macklemore and Ray Lewis.
yeah,
kinda thing.
and that's
Like,
why
is that
I
why?
think that the compelling story, like there's definitely like depth, and I would be like a side plot, like, you know, like other moments, like, you know, I got into a really bad accident, and, you know, I rolled a car, and like I completely changed. Like I went from, you know, not taking life very seriously, and then I became an entirely different person. But that would be like a side plot, just because I feel like my most extreme parts of my personality fill that role of a supporting kind of like comic relief kind of character. Not that I'm not a main character, but just in that I'm pushing the main protagonist, because that's what I'm doing in real life.
No, I get that. I think
Yeah.
I think you see in yourself just a supporting role. You are someone who's a little bit more selfless, and like you see yourself as someone who's capable of pushing others, and I think that's a really cool trait.
Yes. I was able to push Luke to pursue music. You know, he played a show, which he never was willing to do. You know, he pursued music for 5 years. He played a show because of me. We started taking it serious. So, like, you know, I think it would be really cool.
So
I love that. That was fun.
that was fun. There's a question I really want to answer from Day, but I want to wait until all of us are together. I think it would be fun. But because there's only 3 of us and it might be a slightly shorter episode, I do want to answer one more question from him. We can just go through this really quickly. This one is pretty simple, and it's a fairly well asked question in the community. Has an anime ever made you cry? And I think we kind of addressed it a little bit based on what we talked about. But for me,
talked about that.
of course, I think there are far more anime that are soul-crushing rather than tear-inducing, but I've still cried plenty of times watching anime. There's Clanad, Anohana, Your Lie in April. Recently, March Comes in Like a Lion has been making me really teary-eyed, almost in sort of a happy way. Now, I don't typically bawl my eyes out, though. I'll be watching something, and without realizing it, I'll catch myself. I'm like, well, dang, you got me again, anime. Like, I guess I'm crying. I didn't even realize it, and that just sort of happens. Hotarabi no Mori-e is another one that's just like I can only watch these anime once because I don't want to feel the way they made me feel. You guys?
Silent Voice got me, man. Like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah?
really like the animes I watch don't really have that genre of like sadness and whatnot, which I should get more into. But like for what Kyle said, I could not watch that again if it devastated me. Silent Voice is up there for. If I watch it again, I'm gonna cry like a little bitch, like because I'm gonna pick up more things that I didn't see before. But it was very emotional to me because I always try to put myself in their position. For that entire thing, I can relate all of that, like the grandma dying, how they picked on her as a kid. I was putting myself in her shoes of getting picked on. Like that would mess me up. Like
Right.
I was trying to hold it back. I was like, maybe I should have just let it go. But I definitely teared up a couple times during that movie.
Sure.
And oh man, I like it. I like that it makes me cry. Like it shows that I still have a human side.
Sorry,
I cried
Kyle.
I cried like a little girl.
It
And a bunch
happens
of
to the
man.
best of us.
No, it's good. Like I think it's refreshing. I think
It
that
is.
experience that emotion is very refreshing. Like
Definitely.
people don't cry a lot. Like most men don't like to release that emotion.
Justin, you talked about it a little bit. Do you want to say more about your...
I definitely, like, you know, Your Lie in April, like, just Your Lie in April definitely got me, like, bawling, like, legitimately, like, just, like, uncontrollably crying.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to what we've been watching. So, I'll start us off and I'll say everything that I've been watching. If you happen to be watching the same things I am, you can jump in. And once I finish, if you have been watching something other than what I have been, I'll let you guys go. So, as of now, I find myself wanting to like Darling in the Franxx more than I actually like it. Conceptually, the series is catered specifically to me, but I feel like the anime is squandering its potential with superficiality. With the amount of sexual innuendos in each episode, you would think they would serve a greater purpose. Instead, they seem to be taken extremely literally, which makes me believe I'm looking for meaning in the wrong places. I want the series to be representative of a huge variety of varying relationships, and I think it's trying. But sadly, episode 4 was very flat and felt like a missed opportunity for much needed characterization. Episode 6, which will be released tomorrow as of the time of this recording, will be addressing a cliffhanger that will hopefully be a major turning point. I'm aware of the Blue Oni theory, which will be cool if true. I love the fact that the plug suits are representative of traditional ceremonial wedding attire. I'm just holding the series to a higher standard if it's blatantly paying homage to other sexually fueled mecha anime. I want it to be good, not just entertaining. Sora Yorimo Toibasho is sort of unbelievable. With the exception of one lackluster comedic episode, the series has continually succeeded in making me feel simultaneously melancholic and inspired. Now, it does typically achieve this by using the somewhat unfair but very effective tactic of pairing impactful dialogue with emotional insert music. Nevertheless, I'm still standing by my statement that the show is deceptively good. It's not a cute girl show, it's a show that happens to have cute girls. And these girls are easily in the running for, like, the best characters of the season. Rather than being defined by an archetype, they all have their own unique personality and inner struggle, grounded in reality, where they combat their apprehension and fickle nature of life with their own perseverance. Takagi-san is still super cute. I'm only sad that the likelihood of any romantic progress actually occurring is virtually non-existent. I liked Koiwa Ameagari from episode 1, but with each passing episode I find myself enjoying it more and more. I think the unconventional or socially taboo romances are captivating, typically as a result of them being smutty and filled with fan service. However, occasionally we encounter one that's genuinely heartfelt and thoughtful. Ameagari addressing legitimate concerns that would surface if a teenage girl fell in love with a middle-aged man, and justifies their actions through good characterization. A girl with the determination to pursue a much older guy would have to be assertive and somewhat aggressive. It's also likely for her to be a little perverted and curious to an extent that gets her in trouble. Akira is just a fun character to watch. On the other hand, I'm bizarrely empathetic towards this 40 or 50-year-old single dad and his complex interpretation of receiving love. Of course, any man would love to have a young, beautiful girl fall in love with him, but how would society interpret that relationship? Is being part of that relationship worth being regarded as somewhat predatory? Like, it's just a really cute and interesting show, and definitely check it out. It's not your typical romance. Violet Evergarden continues to be overwhelmingly beautiful, so much so that I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being the prettiest anime of the year. In regards to the story, due to its episodic nature, side characters are being characterized better than Violet herself. So far, the anime has been showing us the impact Violet has on others as she continues to remain stagnant. While this seems to be the reason a few people are having trouble gaining interest in the plot of the anime, all I can think of is how this method of storytelling only increases the potential impact of the finale. A decent amount of time is passing between each episode, and as time passes, Violet's loneliness is only growing stronger. The inevitable shock of discovering the truth is only increasing in severity. The moment characterization shifts to Violet is when we should start feeling worried. Think of it like Cowboy Bebop. Whenever an episode is focused on a crew member's past, we had to prepare ourselves for an emotional gut punch, and I'm looking forward to it. Cardcaptor Sakura is as formulaic as it's always been, but everyone's aboard the nostalgia train, and it's still very fun. And then Hakume Tomikochi is the one series that I showed interest in that is sort of losing my attention. It's actively achieving what it set out to do, which is to be a cute show about small girls, but I just don't feel invested. Maybe it's the style that's preventing me from feeling really super attached to the characters, but there are a ton of other shows I'm watching, but those are the ones that are sticking out to me most. I think my initial opinion on Yuru Camp was not entirely accurate. It's a slightly better cute girl show than I thought it was, but nothing more than that, and so on and so forth. So you guys, what have you been watching?
Are you not watching Overlord 2? Overlord?
What? I am. I don't like it at all.
Oh, goddamn.
So I'm watching a great anime right now. Like many animes that Kyle talks about, I'm very skeptical when he describes them.
Sure.
Kill la Kill, very skeptical. Great. And so I'm watching Kakegurui. It just came on Netflix. I had to check it out. And it's amazing. It is really, really captivating. I mean, just from that beginning title sequence and the music, the music is what totally gets me. It's like this insanity swing song.
It's almost a little creepy.
It is creepy,
Yeah.
and especially with the title, with the way she's like crawling and like kind of like a predator almost,
Like seductive, yeah.
seductive and sexual, and it's really, really good.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, so
I
enjoyed
think
it.
Kakegurui is heavily flawed. It's a show that I really wanted to like, but I think it had a fair share of problems, especially towards the end, which I know you haven't got to yet. But I love it. I love the overly sexual nature of it. I love like the disgusting and almost like erotic facial expressions. But if you want to watch, just if I'm shouting out another recommendation, if you like the gambling and the intensity of how it feels to like put your life on the line to gamble, you should watch Kaiji. Not everything is Black Bible, Kevin. Kaiji. 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 Kaiji.
Cool.
But it's not as pretty. It's about an ugly dude with a really big nose.
That
Interesting, because
his anime, that drawing, that art style is my jams.
Yeah.
Like that's the clean, sharp drawing.
what one?
The one you're watching, the gambling one.
Kakegurui.
Like compared to other animes, like
Kakegurui.
Kakegurui.
Gurui. Okay.
Gurui.
But anything else? I mean, you watched Your Lie in April. You watched Kids on the Slope.
Yeah, those are all recent. Super good. I rewatched One Punch Man, which was fun.
Cool.
It was a fun one.
you rewatched it.
Kevin, what have you been up to?
Honestly, I'm in a drought. I honestly, I can't. I don't find myself wanting to watch anime at the moment. Yeah, I've only been watching like little splices on like YouTube, like the How to Take Care of a Mummy,
Sure.
and that's about it. Like nothing in depth. Like I don't know why.
It's okay. We all kind of lose interest, except for me sometimes. But
I don't know. See, your heart runs on anime.
yeah, I just die if I don't watch anime.
No, I believe it.
Hey, I
fueled-
respect being passionate about
I am
something.
fueled on cute girls. That's how I live.
Kawaii. Kawaii till I die.
All right then. Anything else?
Watch hentai.
Watch hentai. All right. If you have any questions, please send us as many as you would like. You can send them to myself at Secret Otaku on Tumblr, email us at theweeaboos@gmail.com, or just leave us a comment wherever you're listening. Join us on Twitch for when we record live on Fridays around the middle of each month. And join us on our Discord so you can talk to us whenever you would like. Also, consider supporting us on Patreon or leaving us an iTunes review if you like what we do. We recently got a 2-star review, so that's pretty cool, I guess. And more than anything...
2-star review.
Yeah.
Tell me about that review.
No, it's not a review. It's just 2 stars. No, they didn't say anything.
Wow.
That doesn't count then. Leave me an opinion. You could say you just suck. Well, tell me why.
It's probably an accident. They probably didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, they probably went to get a 5-star and a donut.
This slipped. Their thumb just, yeah. So, and more than anything, please share the podcast because word of mouth is the only way we get new listeners. We want to thank you, Dachi, for our intro. And like always, get
Drunk?
And watch anime.
and watch anime. That's close enough. We'll see you guys
Wait, what
next
was the saying?
Yeah.
Bye.
諦めない心君とならば頑張れる無駄なことはないよ上を向いて笑おう一度きりの時だから忘れないよ